Welcome to Weekly, Compliance Weekly, 20th September. Uh, I think we left off at this issue last time. This one is mine. Uh, so the cleanup of feature flag for external audit events for instance level events is now done. Josefa?
So this was like creating the uh, model and the table for setting an audit event destination for Amazon S3. This has been deployed to production. The MR for the MR for actually using those is in review right now. The next one was related to an incident where uh, we had like infinite rollbacks for two approvals worker, and we fixed it, and it's also deployed to production. The feature flag is also enabled globally now. Yeah. The next one above that is for backfilling the existing compliance standards adherence table. Uh, this migration has also been completed. So from backend perspective, almost everything is completed. We just have a few improvement items related to optimizing the database queries that is there.
So does that mean, sorry, just a question on that. Does that mean if we were to turn on the compliance adherence report UI for any group that they would show now with their projects?
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
The only thing is we still don't have any pagination on the UI, so they may not be able to see all the projects there. For example, the group has a lot of projects. For example, even the issue reproduce group on GitLab that we test on. I created a new project under there and then visited the compliance adherence dashboard. I couldn't see that because uh, it was not listed. Uh, it was not listed there, and we don't have a pagination. So yeah. But
Yeah,
yes,
for
from a backend
pagination,
perspective, we do have. And via the GraphQL, I was able to do that.
just a note for the pagination is just waiting for the maintainer approval. I might reassign tomorrow because it's been almost 2 days.
Okay.
But yeah, just a note.
Thanks.
I think we are done with the issues here. So anyone has any concerns and other issues in the milestone?
The only thing I was going to mention was for the cleanup with feature flag external audit events. I ran into something locally today, but I haven't written up anything because I need to try and reproduce it. When I was trying to add a streaming audit destination in the admin panel, I was getting feature flag, like that feature flag not found. So I'll see if I can reproduce it and then write an issue on it. But I just noticed it today when I was working on audit events.
Okay. Yeah, do let me know if you are facing any issues over that. Now moving to planning. Josefa J.
Yeah, so this is the same thing. Adherence report backend MVC is already completed. If we start rolling out the front-end flag, that should be fine now. The only concern that I have is I'm a little bit concerned about the existing database query that we have. We can still roll out the feature flag. If we see any issues, we can like stop there. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the UI side, I think it's just filtering that is the remaining work. Everything else is in the maintainer review or merged. Oh, yeah, for the next one, grouping, export, and begin work on scan on demand. That's in the works, but that's I think targeted for next milestone.
Next one is with Sam. He's not here. Harsina.
Yes, so for this, this is related to the ClickHouse and how we are going to migrate data from Postgres to the ClickHouse database. So here we need to think about a strategy on how the whole process will occur. So this is currently in planning stage, and I'm thinking around different strategies. But one strategy which we might be using is to build CSV reports and then just push those CSVs onto the ClickHouse and do some kind of bulk insertion.
Jay, the next one is with you.
Yeah, for the retry failed external status checks, the MR already got the maintainer review. There was one more note from the maintainer before giving the final approval and merging, but I have left a comment, and my hopes is that it gets merged within the next little bit, like few hours.
Farsima?
Yeah, next is with me. So for this branch protection dropdown, there were two settings which we needed to build, one in namespace, another in application. For the namespace part, the MRs are already in review. And I realized that there was no issue regarding the application setting in the original Epic. So I will be creating a new issue regarding the application one and start working on it. So, but the target release for the backend part would remain 16.5.
Okay, great. Josefa?
Yeah. So this one, the model and the table has been deployed. The MR for using that is in review. I also created a demo and shared on the group yesterday. I have to start working on creating GraphQL APIs for this, so that front end can use that and create the form for creating the AWS S3 destinations.
Okay. Next one is with me. So the list and create APIs for these have been deployed to the production, and I'll be rolling out the update and destroy APIs MRs too. So most likely it will get deployed in this milestone. Nate?
Yeah, so we defined the MVC in 16.4, and this milestone we've got the first MR to add the feature flag and the new tab already up and in maintainer review at the moment. So yeah, we'll just hopefully can keep going through a couple of those issues, this milestone, until we can get Ilya back.
The next two are with me. So I'm working on the migrations and models MR for this. As soon as I'm done with them, I'll start creating MRs for the other ones. We'll try to finish up the group level APIs and MRs in this milestone. In the next one, the uh, update API MR is under review, maintainer review, and mostly will get deployed in few days. So this is almost done in terms of backend, but we need some changes from we might need to check it from the front end perspective.
Yeah, the front end MR is sitting there waiting based off your back end MR. So we just need that back end MR to be merged.
Okay. I think we are done. Sam and Micah are not here. So uh, we don't have any design queue update. OKRs. Hasima, you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to give a quick walkthrough over how's ClickHouse project being going on. So let me just share my screen. Is it visible? Yeah, so I just wanted to give some updates around it. So first one is the main epic for the migration of audit events to ClickHouse. It has bunch of issues inside it, and um, so I can just walk through all of them one by one, and starting with the schema design. So we have already designed a ClickHouse schema for audit events. So how we did that was we took the current schema for Postgres and first came up with the sample schema for ClickHouse, then ran a bunch of queries over it. Um, so it needed some indexing in the starting. Then we came up with the indexing, ran the queries again with tested with some 10 million rows, and sample queries ran under 0.027 seconds. Um, but the one thing to note here was that this data was totally random, unlike our GitLab.com, where a single group can hold majority of the audit events, and many other small groups might have only very few audit events. So this one thing was missing here, which we came to know in the later steps. But yeah, till now we are proposing this schema only. Um, and the second issue was regarding how we are going to retrieve data from ClickHouse. ClickHouse working group developed a gem around ClickHouse, which helps you query ClickHouse over HTTP. Uh, but what we needed here was first we analyzed our how audit events actually need the data and how it builds the data and show the data over UI. So we have two main controllers where we fetch the data, one being inside group and other being projects one. We have bunch of scopes which help us build a dynamic query on what a user is actually requesting. So these are bunch of queries which can be fired on our Postgres database. So what mainly we needed here was a dynamic way to generate a query given upon user input. So from here we came up with the issue that we specifically for the audit events use case will be needing a query builder. So other use cases in GitLab might not need this query builder because they are mainly using ClickHouse for analytics purposes, and they will be just writing some raw SQLs in our code base. But in the case of audit events, you can see if we start writing raw SQLs, it will be a huge mess around the audit events code. So we build this query builder, and here similarly like active record, you can just um, query a table using where, order, and limit offset, just like we do with active record. Uh, so we build this, and this is merged and done. You can try this out locally. Second part was around query builder enhancement that currently we also log SQLs being fired on Postgres, but we sanitize the user input or the values which are I mean the user data. So for example, here if I'm querying on a column with a value 12, the redacted SQL generated will be column is equal to $1. So similar enhancement was done in Query Builder, where if you are firing queries over using it, it will do this redaction and will also log the queries. This is also done for the raw SQLs which are being fired directly using the ClickHouse gem. Next part is to create a model so that we can actually start using the query builder. So this is currently open and not a closed issue, but the MR is ready for this. So what I'm trying to do here is I wrote a simple model for audit event, and these are all the different scopes which were present in the our active record audit event file. So here similarly we can change the scopes and also write a filterable logic. And the last part which I'm currently working on is the load testing one. So here what we are trying to do is we decided to use a tool called JMeter. it lets you write a bunch of it lets you create a test plan, and inside the test plan you can add bunch of HTTP requests, and lets also lets you add some scripts and also some logics around how you are going to run those HTTP requests, and also define number of users and number of threads which will run. And you after running, you can actually get a report where response time and throughput is noted down. So this is the current status for the ClickHouse. The next step includes the staging load testing. For that, I was thinking on around if it will be possible for us to get a production replica on ClickHouse staging, so that we can get near close metrics. But that is still in planning stage. And the next step would also include writing a architecture design workflow for this, and or planning a data migration strategy from Postgres to ClickHouse. So these are all in planning stage right now, aiming for 16.5 for this. Anyone has any questions or want to dive deep into any topic?
I
I
would just
have
like to add like great work on this that you've done. Yeah, Vitesh.
Yeah, I have some question, but I'll connect with you in later.
Yeah,
The
sure.
primary question is, will we be able to modify the schema of the tables that we are adding in ClickHouse?
Yeah,
And
so
what about the migration? Is
yeah,
something parallel possible?
yeah, one thing in ClickHouse, so I was studying around it, was that it's not recommended to frequently modify your schema once you have defined in ClickHouse, and also not modify your actual rows inside the I mean modify your actual data. So that's one thing we might need to take care of initially, that we have a defined schema.
Okay, thanks.
Mm.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Is the way to do it then to create a new table with a new schema, and then
Yeah. So the one way I read was to just create a new schema and then dump the table to the new schema, and then just drop the previous table and then change the new table name to the previous table name.
yeah, awesome work, Hasima. Like, thank you for taking us through it as well. Looks like it's getting close.
I think it's over to you, Nate, for the FIN question.
Oh yeah, just a couple of FYIs. So if you missed it, there is a new label to add to your issues called Verified by Author, which thank you to Phil for suggesting that. Great suggestion, and it just stops the verification process. So you can, for verifying, if the author wants to verify it, like feature flags or migrations, things like that, background migrations. Yeah, and the other one was just it's the end of 16.4, so please get your thoughts and any ideas or updates that you have into the retro issue.
Okay, thanks for joining the session. I'll be stopping the recording now. Let's see.